Well, hello, fourth graders. Yes, this is a sequel, making little ones out of big ones. Sequel to what, you might ask? I'm glad you did. You know how we've been working with units, and we've been taking, let's say, for example, gallons and turning those into quarts and then into pints and into cups. Well, same kind of thing with a twist. The only difference here is there are going to be operations, as in addition and subtraction. It should go okay. Just take your time. This is where it's really super essential that you show your work. So, with that, let's get on with it. Making little ones out of big ones. Let's take the equation or number sentence, 3 quarts plus 1 quart. Okay, you already know what this is going to be. Because 4 quarts make a gallon. Yeah, you already got that answer in your head. Nice work. That's 4 quarts, and that equals a gallon. I just spelled it out for you. You should understand that. But what if I turn it around and look at it this way? If I take 1 gallon and subtract 1 quart, okay, but Mr. C, just like fractions, those aren't the same units. Keen observation, my good friend. What do I do with that 1 gallon? I'm going to pause right here, let you think on that, and then turn and tell your neighbor what your strategy would be. I'm waiting. You're thinking. Now you're sharing. How about this? Go ahead and convert that 1 gallon into 4 quarts. And then, oh, look at that. Subtract the 1 quart and you get 3 quarts because they are the same unit. Oh, that's genius. I'm so glad you thought of it. But, and it's a big but, what about 4 gallons minus 3 quarts? Okay, that's just not fair, Mr. C. Yeah, it is. You just learned how to do this. Well, sort of. I showed you an example. Now, you may have a strategy here. I know I have my own. There are a couple ways you could solve this. What's good to know here is that you are subtracting quarts from gallons, and that conversion is really easy and smooth. I know. Wait, what? Mr. C, are you here to confuse us? Yes, that's why they pay me the big bucks. It's there's a sense of satisfaction in that, especially when I get that quizzical expression on Peppy's face. Yes, that's why I'm here, Peppy. This is what I would do. I would go ahead and convert that 4 gallons into 3 gallons plus 4 quarts. It's going to look like this. I want you to write it this way. I don't want you to leave this in your head. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Jake. 3 gallons plus 4 quarts minus 3 quarts. But Mr. C, I'm only going to be working with part of that. On the contrary, you've already done part of the work. The 3 gallons, you can go ahead and write that down. That's already taken care of because that's what's left after you've taken out the 4 quarts. Now, right here is where I'm going to get questions from some of you. I'm not going to pause right now, but I will pause in the classroom, so relax. Now I'm going to do the subtraction where I have 4 quarts minus 3 quarts, and we all know that 4 minus 3 is 1. And I'm going to record it that way. So my solution is 4 gallons, 4 gallons minus 3 quarts is equal to 3 gallons and 1 quart. I hope that makes sense. It sure does to me. 2 different units. I want to point that out to you. Wow, I could have scribbled that a little bit worse than I did, but I don't have time right now to fix that. Renaming stuff. What do you mean renaming stuff, Mr. C? Well, here's another possibility. I've got 6 quarts. I'm going to subtract 5 pints. You can do the conversion to a common unit. The common unit in pretty much every case is going to be the smallest unit. There may be exceptions to that rule, but I'm going to say that's your first strategy of choice. Convert to the smaller unit, at least in part. I know, homie's confused. How many pints, yes, that's a long I, per quart? 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. That's equal to 4 cups. Oh, I see what you did there, Mr. C. Again, you're paying attention. I'm so proud of you right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, 6 quarts minus 2 quarts minus 1 pint. So why'd you do it that way, Mr. C? Well, I've just taken, and you may not see this until I point it out. If I take my 5 pints, right? I know I'm going to have a leftover pint. I could convert that to cups. I could convert them all to cups. That's a lot of cups. It's also a lot of extra work. What you see right there is just part of the calculation. I know this is going to confuse some of you, so I'll kind of settle here for a bit and take questions. But the bottom line is this. 5 pints can be converted into 2 quarts and 1 pint. I'm going to kick down the answer to you right now about why I would do that. I am starting with 6 quarts, so I'm going to be subtracting quarts from quarts. Because my number of pints is an odd number, I know I'm going to have 1 pint left over because, well, pints to quarts, they pair up by 2s, by a factor of 2, or a multiple of 2. Take your pick. So this becomes 5 quarts and 2 pints, subtracting 2 quarts and 1 pint. And I'm going to pause it right there. I know, I just explained to you what I did there because some of you are going to be confused. I've basically broken this out into 2 parts. I know, parts is parts. I've taken the 6 quarts, I've converted that into 5 quarts and 2 pints. But why, Mr. C? This is so confusing. Well, what was I going to subtract the 1 pint from? Oh. So I have to subtract units, like units from like units. This is where it requires a certain amount of organization. This is probably the hardest stuff that we'll do with measurement. Not only because you have to make a lot of conversions, but in this case, it's like a 2-part problem. So we can settle here. I'll answer more questions. I'll even throw down a few more examples. But for now, there it is. So I take the 5 quarts, I subtract the 2 quarts. Again, those are common units. I end up with 3 quarts. Pints, I take, that arrow should be like over there by the pints, but you can't. I couldn't reach it without making it all messy. So from that direction, 2 pints minus 1 pint is, well, 1 pint. Therefore, my solution is 3 quarts and 1 pint. In other words, 6 quarts minus 5 pints is equal to 3 quarts and 1 pint. Here's another way to do it. I'm going to start over. 6 quarts minus 5 pints. I'm going to go ahead and take that and say, well, Mr. C, you know what? I'm going to dispense with all of this messy mess here. And I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and convert into more pints. That way I'm not doing this twice. Oh, that makes a certain amount of sense. But how much do I convert? Well, I have to convert enough quarts to make enough pints to subtract 5 pints from. You see that? That 6 is more than 5, so this is going to work. So 3 quarts, the restated 6 quarts is 3 quarts and 6 pints. I'm subtracting the 5 pints, and I'm going to get the same answer. 3 quarts and 1 pint. From my perspective, and yes, I know I've been doing this for a really long time. Don't say it, Hetty. 15,334 years. Well, not exactly. That was a birth date. But this second method is probably my preferred method. And the reason that is for most kids, it's easier to break it down once. In other words, take that small unit all in one big chunk and not do what I showed you on top. Although some of you like that, I'm going to say most of you will not. Most of you will like this second method. And so I suggest you go with that. Bottom line, you get the same solution for each. Stay with it, and it gets easier. I didn't say easy, I said easier. This is one of those lessons where I'm going to get some confusion, and hopefully I don't get tears. You just need to ask for help. We can break it down. I will give you more examples, and we'll just take it from there. Again, there's an efficiency, and by that I mean things getting done faster and with less complicated workflow in my second method there. I will strongly suggest that that's the one that you take, especially if you're having some confusion here or some frustration. There's one final piece here that I'm going to have us solve after the fact. I'll go ahead and put it on the screen since it's already hinting toward it. I'll talk about that. So right now, let's just continue into the examples. I'll probably do a few more on the board with you, and we'll take it from there. Oh, by the way, Thanks for listening.